Engaging, enlightening, informative. This is WLOX News This Week.
Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Dave Elliott. We're not in our usual time slot, kind of late on a Sunday night, but thanks for being with us. We start with debt ceiling negotiations in our nation's capital. Joining us from Washington, Mississippi, 4th District Congressman Mike Ezell. Congressman, good to see you, and thanks so much for visiting with us on the coast.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity, Dave. I really appreciate it.
You know, you've been up there 5 months. June 1st is kind of doomsday, the full faith and credit of the U.S. government at stake. I think some of the debate has been a little melodramatic, but did you ever imagine seeing anything quite like this?
No, I didn't. I'll tell you this, I've had a lot of people ask me, Mike, what did you expect when you got up there? I said, well, it wasn't this. And I'll tell you what, it is, yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of drama. There's been a lot of back and forth. There's been a lot of accusing. And so, yeah, it's very intense up here right now. I can tell you that. You can feel the air walking down through the halls of Congress. It's pretty intense.
Well, it is a partisan battle royale between Democrats and Republicans, primarily Speaker McCarthy and President Biden and his staff at the White House. My feeling is, Congressman, that as they always do, they'll eventually work it out, even though it might be the 11th hour when that happens. Do you get that sense as well?
I do. I get that sense, and the thing about it, it didn't have to be like this. We 100 days ago, the speaker, offered up to meet and talk with the president. Let's get this thing started so that we won't have to get into this position. The Republicans have presented a plan. We're ready to go to work. We're doing our job. And, they basically just kind of snubbed us, ignored us. They didn't do their job. You got Schumer over there making all sorts of accusations. The president basically ignored us. Just do your job. If we could have started these negotiations, 100 days ago, we wouldn't be in this predicament right now. They knew this was coming. And so that's why we started talking to them early. We gave them a plan several weeks ago, a month ago. They know what our plan is. And instead of taking it seriously, it's still sitting on Schumer's desk, apparently. And, the president is just now, taking notice of it. So just do your job. Let's do what we were voted for, people that sent us up to Washington. Just do your job and let's get this done.
$31 trillion national debt. I would think every reasonable American would be disgusted by that and realize that something has to be done. What that something is, nobody seems to know. But the Republicans, whenever asked, say, oh, we got to cut spending. We have to cut spending, but they're not really being specific on those cuts, Congressman.
Well, I can tell you this, first thing that we asked that we could just claw back some of the billions of dollars in this COVID money. Cut, we stopped this emergency, that was declared. And there's billions of dollars sitting out there. So let's claw back that money and start. That's a good starting point. We've also, some of the compromises that we've been able to come to the table with is this, cutting down on some of the permitting processes. It takes forever. The Army Corps of Engineers, that's something we can compromise on. There's some other things, and we're absolutely being responsible. We're not going to cut our veterans. We're not going to cut our military. We're not going to cut Medicare. We're going to take care of our veterans out there. And so, there's plenty of, just go back to 2022 spending levels. We offered to raise the debt ceiling limit. And so those are very good starting points that we gave them. And let's work from there.
President Biden, on the other hand, playing a little class warfare, is talking about raising taxes on the wealthy, also raising the corporate tax rate, thinking that it's more of a revenue problem from his perspective than a spending problem. Fact is, if you confiscated every dollar every billionaire in America owned, you wouldn't even come close to balancing the budget.
Exactly right. And, that's always their answer. Let's raise taxes. And you and I both know the tax will end up on the middle class. We're already paying, $4 or $5 for a gallon of gas. We're paying more money now for a gallon of milk than we've ever paid. And the American people are suffering. And I can tell you this, for the first time, it really feels like that we have the full support of the American people out here, because everybody's living from week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And here the president wants to raise taxes. And you and I both know that those taxes will be put on the middle class, and we'll be forced to pay more taxes so they can continue to spend more money than we don't have. For right now, we're spending $1.29 for every dollar we take in. We're taking in more money than we've ever taken in. So let's use that money. Let's go back to 2022 spending, and let's tell the president and Chuck Schumer to do their job, and we can get this thing done.
One good thing about what the president's saying about taxes, though, is to close a lot of tax loopholes. And we all know the way the tax code is written, those things are out there, and the wealthy are taking advantage of them. I mean, who wouldn't? So they need to change, I think, the tax code. And Democrats and Republicans talk a big game about that, but when they look at their donors, they're never too anxious to close those loopholes, are they?
You got that right. People, again, want to know what we're doing up here. And what we're doing up here is trying to hold these people accountable. I would be more than glad to look at the tax code. I mean, it's so complicated now until, you have to get a Philadelphia lawyer to figure that out for you before you can get it done, a CPA. It's just hard to do your taxes anymore, just from the bottom to the top. It's complicated. I think we can do better. But again, going back to this debt thing, if we don't get this debt thing done, we ain't gonna have to worry about that. Because, going back to the president and the Schumer, they're not doing their jobs. If they would concentrate on getting this done, we could move on to other things like tax reform. We need tax reform in this country because we're sick and tired of paying taxes. And at some point, we're going to run out of other people's money. And, we've had it with this government spending. And I know the American people feel the same way.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go back to the year 2000, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden. Okay. Everyone's raised the debt limit. It's not like this is anything new. This is a dance we see in Washington all the time. Let's shift gears. Now that the House has a majority, there are a lot of investigations going on in different oversight committees, looking at everything from FBI involvement in both the 2016 and 2020 elections to Hunter Biden. Are these investigations going to go anywhere?
I feel confident that they will, but I don't feel confident with this Justice Department that we have right now. This Attorney General, just look at what's come out of the Durham report with the Hunter Biden, all these issues that have come up, that come to light. We've seen the IRS task force that was supposedly investigating Hunter Biden. They've been pulled off their job. You got whistleblowers out there giving us information. You got the FBI denying the Congress to turn over some reports. And I'm telling you this, as a big supporter of the FBI, as a National Academy graduate, I'm very concerned about the way that they're conducting themselves. They've been weaponized against so many different people. The American people are not going to stand for this much longer. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that these people, if they've broken the law, they're going to be held accountable. And I'm not going to turn this loose. And I feel like my fellow Republicans in these oversight committees and doing these things, they're not going to turn them loose either, because the American people hold us accountable. And as people that are appointed to jobs such as FBI director, attorney general, and some of these other positions, you've got to be held accountable. And we're going to do everything we can to make this thing come to light.
One last question for you, Congressman, before we let you go. Have you met AOC yet?
No, sir, I have not.
You
I
haven't?
have seen her walking down through the halls.
Oh, okay. Well, if you do, tell her I said hi.
I will, and I'm sure she'll look forward to meeting you. If you come up here, I'll see if I can get you a meeting with her.
All righty, Congressman Mike Ezell, thanks so much for being with us, Congressman, and we're keeping an eye on this whole battle and this debate in the nation's capital.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and hope you have a good Memorial Day.
Thank you. Hurricane season starting on Thursday. Should a storm head our way, there are things you should be doing right now to ensure you and your families are safe. Up next, WLOX Chief Meteorologist Gary Duncan will be right here.